All right, guys. So welcome to the live trading session. This is brought to you by 10 Trade. And we do this every single week. And what we do every Wednesdays and Monday is to take a look at the foreign exchange market. And as a team, we are spotting out, currency pairs that we can trade. We are spotting zones where, you should be trading from, where you have the highest probability of getting a profitable setup. And then we have been doing this week after week. And for people that actually do follow the results, we've been getting a lot of testimonies from this session. And I can only hope that you take advantage of everything that we have going on every single week. Okay. It's also an opportunity to have your questions answered. So whether you're a beginner or you're an advanced trader, maybe you are currently stumbling somewhere and then you need clarification. Okay, so every week on this Zoom calls is a platform for you to ask your questions, and then I'll be here to answer your questions every single week. Okay. And then so pretty much that's what we're all about. But I want this to be very, very engaging as well. Likewise, if you have what's it called, questions or currency pairs that you want us to check out, okay, so please type in the currency pairs that you want us to check out, and then we analyze it together. Also, if you have any questions, send those questions as well in the chat box, or let me know so that I'll just unmute you and then you ask your questions verbally. Okay, so without further ado, let's go right into analysis. Which pair should we start our analysis from? Which pair should we check out first? Type in something in the chat box. I want to do this for you. So which pair are you looking at for the week? Okay. Amadi Emmanuel, gold. Okay, so let's go check out gold. Let's check out gold. Okay, so what you want to do is very, very simple. You want to start your analysis from the higher time frame. So if we start from weekly, okay, we'll check out AUD/USD, NZD/USD next. Okay, so if you start analysis from the weekly chart, what do we see going on with gold? All right, we are seeing this market structure here. As always, the first thing you want to check out when we are looking at a currency pair is the market structure. Is price in an uptrend or in a downtrend? Okay, so that's what you want to figure out. And then what we have here is this is on the weekly chart, by the way. And then we are seeing price is retracing into this ultimate range of supply here. Okay, so price is still very much in a downtrend. So possibly, we have an impulse move here. So if you have been following our analysis on gold, price is still in this weekly zone here. So ultimately, we are expecting a drop on gold. But because we're expecting a drop on gold does not also mean that within this zone, right, we cannot also still spot some little buy opportunities, right? Because this is the weekly time frame, so it might take a while for some things to actually happen, all right? So ideally, price is in a supply, so it makes sense to look for sell opportunities. But if you also see a good buy opportunity here, we can also look for buys because liquidity will always be grabbed in a supply or demand zone. In this case, a supply. Okay, so that zone is what we are trading from. All right. So let's go to lower time frame like daily. What do we have here on daily? So on daily, we have price moving up like so. All right. So we have price trending up like so on daily. Okay. So we've not seen any liquidity grab yet inside this zone. So until we see liquidity grab on daily like so, that's when we should be anticipating a sell. Now, you might be saying that, oh, what do you mean by that price already took out this high, right? Now, taking out highs does not mean that that's a liquidity grab. Of course, okay, so let me backtrack a bit. So when we are trading supply and demand, this is, for example, a supply zone over here. Now, the first thing you want to always figure out is before you look for sells in a supply or buys in a demand, you always want to wait for liquidity to be grabbed first before you take your entry, okay? If you take entry on any setup without identifying areas of liquidity that's been grabbed, most likely you are going to be the liquidity, okay? So when I mean liquidity grab, I mean in this supply zone right now, for me to see a grab of liquidity, first of all, I would like to see seller's pressure here. So something like this that will move price, and then the seller's pressure must take out a structural point. So for liquidity grabs, I'll be looking for something like in a supply zone, like an M pattern. So something like this, like an M pattern. And that M pattern should, take out a structural point like this. So this will let me know that, okay, we are seeing activity of, the sellers or retail pressure here. What that means is that a lot of people are selling from here. That's why it was able to take out a level here. That means a lot of people's stop loss will be somewhere above here. So this is what I consider liquidity. So what you'll be waiting for is you now wait for price to go back up to grab this liquidity like so. After this has happened is when you now start looking for your entries, okay? And then you sell. But so far, so good on this. If we are only taking a look at the daily time frame right now, we've not seen any activity, any M pattern. So what we are seeing over here is something like this. This is not an M pattern, okay? This M pattern has not formed. It has not gone beyond this neckline here. Okay, so this is some sort of a trend. So daily is still very, very much bullish. I hope I'm making sense with that analysis. Right, so daily is still very, very much bullish, right? And then if you're taking entry for a buys, you would have been in profit. So, but ultimately, if in this zone, we are looking to take a sell, that means on lower time frame, we are waiting for liquidity grab, and then we're waiting for the other fruits to shift from bullish to bearish. All right. So gold, for example, this week, last week, and upper week has been playing around with people's emotions, right? Grabbing stop loss left, right, and center, because gold is in a very, very significant point in the market, which is a supply zone. And in a supply, again, there's always liquidity grab. There's always liquidation in a supply. Ultimately, when they are done with the liquidity grab, you find out that the move that's going to happen on gold is going to be a very, very strong move, right? One or two candles, okay, can just take care of all of this, can come and grab all of this liquidity here. And then ultimately, you see a retracement and then price will go down. So based on daily right now, nothing to trade, right? If we are going to go ahead and trade the continuation of the trend, right? Because price on daily structure is an uptrend, right? So you want price to retrace into this level of demand here, okay? And then you look for possible buys, but be very, very careful. Even if you see a buy setup, don't aim for the skies, okay? Because price is in a supply. All right, so this is one trade idea. You can wait for price. This on the daily chart, you can wait for price to retrace into 1821, between 1821 and 1787. And what you do is when price gets here, you want to go on your lower time frame and then look for a good entry. And as always, when you're doing that as well, you also want to spot liquidity. Here's what I'm saying. So this is a daily demand right now. Let's make this bigger. So this is a daily demand zone. And if you are going to a lower time frame, you want to go to, let's say, a time frame like 30 minutes chart. So on 30 minutes, the structure will look like this. So price will look something like this. All right. So when this zone has been mitigated, so when price gets into this zone, right, it's not advisable to take entry for a buy immediately. You want to wait for liquidation. It happens every time in a demand zone and a supply zone. So you want to wait for something that looks like an M pattern like so, something like this. And then people's stop loss will be here. So you wait for price to come back down to take out people's stop losses. And over here is where you start looking for your buy opportunities. And then your buy opportunity should align with market structure. So the structure on the 30 minutes chart has to shift to what's bullish first before you take entry. Let me know if that is clear. Give me some why or no in the chat box. Let me know if that is clear or not. Okay. I think who has the question? Mr. Madi Manuel. For this first trade idea, let me know if it's clear enough for you. If we are looking for a buy. Mr. Madi Manuel, are you still on this call? Okay, so I'll just move forward. You are clear with it? Okay, good. So that's the first trade idea. Okay, so you have to wait for this to happen. Let us go for another possible setup. One thing that you should always learn, like I always tell people that join this session, is to be very flexible with analysis. So most of us, when we look at analysis, look at a pair, we are bent on letting the market go a certain direction, that we close our eyes to other possible solutions. So the market can play out more than one way, right? So you have to be open as possible to not being so rigid as to ensure, as to trying to make price go your direction, right? Now, as you can see, we are able to spot a supply zone on the weekly, and in a supply level, you are looking for sales ideally, right? But over here, the market structure on daily is still very much bullish. There is no reason for you to sell yet on daily, right? Daily is giving you higher highs. So in that case, you should be looking for buys if you are looking at daily. So even though ultimately the big picture is on weekly, which they sell, but on daily time frame, we are taking into consideration the market structure as well. Okay, let's go to the 4-hour charts and let's see if we can find another trade idea. Okay, so on 4-hour charts, right, we are seeing multiple liquidation, and then I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. Right, you can see on 4 hours we've seen this M pattern like so, price doing this, right, and ultimately price coming up to take out that liquidity. All right, and then ultimately it went down a bit, price taking out another M pattern over here, taking out liquidity, price came all the way down, right? Over here is another higher than this. Okay, so we are at this point right now. So what you want to wait for on H4 right now, let's do this. If you're taking entry based on H4, if your high time frame point of interest is the 4-hour chart, this is what you want to wait for. So right now, the trend on H4 or the other flow on H4 is still very much bullish, as you can see. So what you want to do is to wait for it to turn bearish. We want to sell, right? So if we want to sell, you want to wait for it to turn bearish. Like you are waiting for price to break this lower low over here. I say lower low, higher low over here. Like so, the break must happen, and then you wait for price to retrace into a supply. And then what do? You look for sell opportunities. That's what you do. So that is another trade idea if you are anticipating a sell. But if you are anticipating a buy to continue with the uptrend, right, the idea that you should follow will be for price to retrace into this demand here. All right, we can see that price has broken structure like so. Right, we have a higher high. So once price retraces into this zone, you want to look for buy opportunities. It's as simple as that. All right. So like I said earlier, the market can play out anyway, but you need to be ready for the different possibilities that's going to happen, okay, in a particular time, the particular scenario. All right. So Mr. Madi, so this is what I'm going to wait for. Either I wait for price to retrace into this zone and I look for buy opportunities, or because ultimately this zone is a weekly supply and then I'm waiting for a sell, I can wait for possibly if price will break this higher low, then I wait for the retracement into the supply and then I look for sells. So two possible scenarios, anyone can happen. We do not exactly know what will happen, but as a Forex trader, professional trader, you want to be prepared as to all the possible scenarios because it's not every time trade goes your way. But if you are prepared for all the possible scenarios, when market is playing out, you know exactly what is going on. Okay, so let's check out another pair. Next pair we're checking out by Mr. Jacob is AUD USD. So let's check out AUD USD real quick. All right. So let's go to the weekly charts. It makes sense to always start your analysis from the weekly charts. You want to have a top-down analysis. If you look at AUD USD on the weekly charts, what can we see? First and first, market structure. You can see price on a downtrend like so, right? And the price is currently retracing into this supply here. This is the supply, this zone, okay, that range. So I'm taking the whole range, right? So price is currently retracing into that zone. So what do we do in a supply? We look for possible sell scenarios, all right? So we look for sell scenarios after liquidation. So let's check out what's going on daily. Okay, at the retracement on daily, good. At the retracement on daily, what do we have? So if I'm trying to spot activity of sellers and waiting for liquidation, I can see this M pattern formed and completed. Okay, we can see this M pattern formed like this. It broke this neckline like so. Now, what it means is that a lot of people sold. That was why it was able to break structure. That means there is seller's pressure here. And what that means is that a lot of people's stop loss is above this zone. So my point of interest right now will be above this place. So I want to wait for price to, let me zoom this in. So I want to wait for price to still come up here beyond this place. And then above this zone is where I'll be looking for an ideal sell scenario that will possibly create the new lower low. All right. And as you can see, price is currently coming up. And I believe that price is going to take out people's liquidity here. So people's stop loss are here. People's buy stop is also here. So price needs to take out all of that one way or the other over here. Okay. And once that liquidity grab happens, that is what will initiate a downward momentum. So it makes a lot of sense to wait for liquidity grabs before, right, before taking entry. That's how you can stay afloat. A trader, so what I think will set you apart this year, every single year, traders lose money in the market. Every single year, there is a new strategy out there. Okay. Now, in my 4 years of trading in the market, I've come to realize that every good every system works. Okay. And they will only work after liquidity has been grabbed. If you are trading heads and shoulder, or you are trading W pattern, or you're even trading support and resistance, okay, they will work, but they will only work well after liquidity grab, after liquidation. That is when you can have a very, very strong strike rate with your trading strategy. Okay, so what you want to do is to take your time and study liquidity concept. If you go on Google today, Google or YouTube, don't go there to look for strategies. Go there and search for liquidity, how to spot liquidity in the Forex market. Okay, once you do that, I kid you not, naturally you start entering high probability trades. All right, I'll show you a trade. I entered a trade this evening on GBP USD. Possibly I'll show you before we close, okay, using this same liquidity concept. Okay, Mr. Amakiri is asking a question. Please, what is the difference between the demand and supply zones? Okay. There's no way I can answer your question very well without spending at least 30 minutes to really explain it. I would advise that you take the time. There are free resources that would teach you demand and supply properly. So you want to check out the resources, just go on Google. All right. So, but general knowledge is a demand zone is a zone in the market where we've seen activity of buyers. And by buyers, I mean activity of big financial institution getting into the market for a buy. So there's a particular footprint that they leave that let us know that that's a demand zone. Okay, so in a demand zone, we look for buy opportunities in a demand zone. And a supply zone is a zone in the market where we've seen footprints of the big financial institutions when they entered into the market for a sell. Usually when they do that, they leave a footprint, and that footprint is also characterized by liquidity grabs. Okay, because that is how, you know, supply and demand works. Okay, buying and selling happens at the same time. You cannot buy without selling, and then you cannot sell without a buy. Okay, So for AUD USD right now, if you're taking a look at what daily is telling us, we want to wait for price to come up here. Let me erase this. So we want to wait for price to, give me a second, guys. Want to wait for price to come up here and take out liquidity. And taking out this liquidity, you want the body of the candle to close above this zone. When that happens, you start looking for sell. And then for that, you would also wait for order flow to shift to bearish, because right now price is giving you a bullish order flow like so. So if I do this, it will probably come up. So you may have something like this. So if you sell, you wait for price to break this higher low. So you want market structure to shift to bearish. So wait for that break to happen. And then you wait for price to retrace into a supply. Okay, so this is what some people might call head and shoulder pattern, or above this zone as well, you are looking for M pattern, or above this zone, you are looking for your wedge or your triangle or whatever system you are used to trading. Okay, so to sell AUD USD, I wouldn't recommend you sell now, even though some people will be tempted to sell. Okay, so the market is setting some people up to grab the liquidity. So you don't want to be people that will be a victim of liquidation. So you want to take entry after liquidation, because that is when those that can actually move the market will move the market. Okay, so Mr. Isaka Idris is asking, why do you have 3 colored candles? Okay, the other candle, this one, I use an indicator called inside bar. You know what, let me just remove it so that I won't have to explain myself. Let's talk about inside bar now. Okay, I use inside bar for a particular kind of validation. To validate some level of structure, some structural levels in the market. Okay, if you are trading supply and demand, it's very, very important that you sometimes apply inside bar to your supply and demand zones. It also helps you to validate higher lows and lower highs as well. Okay, it's just extra validation, Mr. Idris, that I use. Like I said, with time, we are going to create another specialized session organized by Tentrade, where you will learn a whole lot about all of these smart money concepts. Because what we are learning today, what I'm showing you is how to analyze using smart money concepts. And this is not what we can do under one hour. Okay. So Mr. Jacob is saying that means it is advisable to wait for liquidity grab before taking our entry. Yes, please. That's the lessons. Okay, so for AUD USD, I'll wait for price to come beyond the zone before looking for entry. So that is above 0.68954. Okay, perfect. So let's check out the next next currency pair by Godwin Sami, USD NZD. Is there a pair like that, or NZD USD? So AUD USD and NZD USD, I think they're correlated positively. So we might see the same kind of structure on that. Okay, but let us check it out. So NZD USD, let's go to the weekly time frame. Let's check out what's going on. USD NZD, okay. USD NZD. That would just be an inverse. The same thing. It just be an inverse of NZD USD. But let us check it out, okay? Mr. Gordon Sami. Oh, wow. Okay. NZD USD. Okay, so this is the weekly chart on NZD USD. Right. As always, the first thing you want to do is to figure out the market structure. As you can see, if you are drawing market structure, price is very much bearish on this guy. Okay, so we have a bearish market structure. That means price is in a downtrend, like so. Right, we have activity of sellers here. Let's use this on our demand range here. So price is currently reacting to a supply. All right, and in that supply zone, we are seeing liquidity graph like so. If you go to daily time frame, okay, daily time frame, what can we see here? Price as, check out the order flow here and just keep all of this. You can see price uptrend like so, like so, like so. Okay, give me a second, let me confirm something. We are doing this daily. Okay, so I'll consider this as liquidity on daily. If you check this out, price this was when price broke out of the zone. Price broke out of the zone here, and then we trace here, we have this over here. So we saw sellers activity like so. So what you wait for is for price to retrace above the zone. So eventually price came above that zone. Price came above that zone like so. Okay. So I think the best time frame to look at this would be, let's say, on the 4-hour chart. I'm waiting for the candle to close. Good. So let's check out what's going on 4 hours on NZD USD. Let's delete this. So we've seen multiple liquidations on 4 hours on NZD USD. So now what is price doing right now? Okay. Let's do this. Okay, so this is a zone that we are using. Okay, let me go to daily. On daily, let me show you something on daily. So price is on uptrend like so. Okay, and if you have to look for sells, you want to wait for the market structure to shift from bearish to bullish because we are selling. And then this is the structure points on this time frame, the higher low. Okay, so price has broken the zone. Okay, price has broken this higher low like so. And then once that break happens like so, this break, you want to wait for a retracement, in this case into a supply. So we're going to be using this supply zone, this refined one, the last buy candle before the sell happens. So over here, good. So over here is where, let me be sure, good. So you're waiting for price to retrace into this zone, all right? So based on brokers, different brokers, we might see that possibly price has touched this zone like so. Okay, so let's assume that this has touched the zone and we've seen we are seeing seller's pressure, and that pressure has taken out liquidity here. It has created a low. So what it means is that, what that means is that a lot of people's stop loss is above here, is sitting above here. There's a lot of pending order stop loss here. So what smart traders do is to wait for liquidation. So that liquidation will happen when price goes up here to take out people's stop losses. When that happens, so you want to wait for price to retrace to break the zone into this area. So when that happens, you look for entry. Usually you might wait for price to retrace to the middle of the zone from here to here. So maybe somewhere around the zone. Let me do that. So if you want to refine that, so you want to wait for price to get to 0.64422 before you start looking for entries. But ultimately, anywhere above the zone is fine. So if price starts forming your chart patterns above the zone, we are good to go. So look for M patterns above the zone, look for heads and shoulder patterns above the zone, look for your channels, your wedge, whatever you use above the zone. Okay, they should work most of the time. So this on daily time frame, this is what I'm going to recommend that you do. Okay, hope that makes sense. Mr. Godwin Sami, for a sell in this case, because the order flow has shifted to sell. Okay, so let's check out the next pair, USD CAD. So what's going on USD CAD? So USD CAD, I entered a sell yesterday. Let's see USD CAD. Okay, let's delete this. So USD CAD, if you start from the weekly chart, what's going on the weekly charts? You can see that price is very much bullish on weekly. Okay, like so. Let me draw that out. You can see this move here. Let me just jump this, and price is doing something like this. Okay, so and the range of demand in this case is over here. All right, so price is bullish here. We are seeing this retracement over here. Okay, and if this demand zone is going to really hold, then that means it should take out this previous high to create a new high, like so. Okay, it should create a new high like so. All right, so we have two possible scenarios, such that we're expecting price to still get into this high to create a new high. That is when USD regains its value, or because we are just at the extreme tip of this demand. Okay, like so. Possibly pricing needs to come back down, possibly into the middle. So we might also be expecting price to settle properly into that demand zone. Because if price will break this high to create a new high, then there has to be a huge demand for USD. And usually that demand, that bullish momentum is going to start at an area of demand. Okay, and for demand to be strong, liquidity always needs to be grabbed first. All right, for demand to be very, very strong. So they need to see a lot of people that was willing to sell to them before they can buy so much. Okay, so We have a bias to buy, ultimately to break the zone, another bias to see price still drop a bit into the zone. So the weekly chart will give you a story. So lower time frames will give you a microscopic view into what's going on. So let's go to the daily chart and see exactly how we can enter this trade, either for a buy or sell. Okay, so when you go to the daily time frame, what do we have? Let me remove my alerts here. Okay, so check out the structure on daily. What is the market structure on daily, ladies and gentlemen? We have price giving us a bearish order flow. How do I know that? When you check out the market structure from here, you can see price going all the way up, uptrend forming, higher highs forming, like so, okay? And then what do we have ultimately? Price breaking this demand here, this structure area was broken, like so, okay? And then we have this happen, we have this happen, this, and ultimately price is reacting to this general range of supply here, this here. So when you take it all the way forward, we are in a daily supply for USD CAD, okay? And what do we know happens in a supply zone? There's always going to be liquidation. That's when a lot of us, our emotions are really played with when price is in a supply zone or demand zone, because before price can actually move in a supply or demand zone, there will be liquidation guaranteed, okay? So over here, you're supposed to sell, and then we're also seeing an internal structure form likewise in this zone. What am I talking about when I say internal structure? Okay, we can also see this internal retracement like so here, okay, and this. So what do we have? You can see this retracement like so, and then price breaking this higher low. When price broke the higher low like so, okay, what would you wait for? You wait for price to retrace into a block of supply, okay? In this case, you can use this extreme over here. And then what did we see happen? Price retrace into that zone, and then we are currently having a drop, all right? So we are late into this particular entry. These entries started around 2 a.m. this morning or yesterday, I'm not sure. I entered late last night, okay? So this move already happened. So, but what else can we do? We can still enter into this trade. So right now, we should be looking for sell opportunities. And what should you do on USD CAD right now? It's very, very simple. This is now the lower low, higher low rather. Is it higher low? Lower low that I want price to break here, lower low here. So, because now this is the structure of the market now. This is it. So we have this, you have your impulse move, you have your correction. So you want price to break this lower low to create a new lower low, like so. If and when that happens, what you want to do is to wait for price to now retrace into a supply. In this case, use this supply zone. So you wait for price to retrace over here like so, and then you look for the continuation of the sell. And if you are a swing trader, you can decide to hold the trade and hold it up until price takes out this liquidity over here. Okay, but if you are an intraday or a scalper, look for sells. The momentum right now is with the sellers. I hope that makes sense, guys. Godwin Sammy is asking, sorry to have caught you in, please, how did you call up the toolbox line horizontally? You just favorite it. So the toolbox on the left-hand side, let's say I want to favorite over here. You just click on the star sign in front of this. So if I click on add to favorite, you can see it will add the tool to my listen. If I want to remove it, I just click to remove. Okay. So that's how to do it. Let me know if we're on the same page, guys. Based on the analysis, we've analyzed USD CAD today. We've analyzed NZD USD. We've done AED USD, I think so, and then we've done gold. We've done 4 pairs tonight. Okay. So let me know if it's clear so far, so good. You would have access to the recording so that you can mark out those zones on your chart as well, and then wait for them to align. So if you're trading on a lower time frame, like 4 hours, let's check out what's going on 4 hours. How can you enter this trade if you're looking at it from the 4 hours? So the 4 hours, let me delete everything. We've already established that price is in a downtrend, okay, based on daily. So it makes sense to look for sells right now, and then check out the structure on 4 hours, like so, impulse. This was the bullish order flow, okay, and ultimately price has now broken this low, or let's say this low. So what you want to do is very, very simple. You want to wait for price to retrace. Let's use this. Also very, very similar to what we have on daily. So you have to wait for that retracement to happen. So if that happens, we look for sell opportunities. So this is what we do on USD CAD, okay, on USD CAD. So which other pair are we checking out for tonight? Which other pair are we looking at for tonight? Is that all for tonight, guys? Is that for tonight? So yes, I was to show you a trade on GBP USD that happened today. Just to give you perspective on how effective what I'm showing you is. So let me quickly show you what happened on GU this afternoon. So I saw this trade. Where is it? Over here. Good. So let me just rewind this. So speaking about, this is a 4-hour time frame, and then what do we have over here? Price is in a downtrend, like so. Okay. And then ultimately, this is the zone, the supply that you want price to retrace to for a sell. And then what did we have? We found this retracement, like so. So this is how I look at the charts. Like I always tell you, if you find a point of interest on the higher time frame, you don't always want to take entry on that higher time frame. You want to take entry on a lower time frame. So let me do a replay of this and give everything in real time. So just to show you, so when I get a higher time frame point of interest on 4 hours, I go to the 15 minutes. So the 15 minutes is net of me. I check. So what I do is, as soon as price touches my point of interest, that mitigate. Once price mitigates it, I'm waiting for a liquidation of the mitigation. I'm looking for activity of sellers here, and then I want their stop loss to be taken out. So when I play this forward, let's just play this forward for a bit. So good. over here, what can I see? I can see price doing this. I'll consider this as structure, and then price ultimately taking out, I think it took out this low. Good. So price took out this low. So what it means is that over here, I know that people's stop loss is sitting here. So what do? I'm waiting for price to come back above the zone. Okay. So what I do is I set an alert here so that when price gets here, I know. So let's play this for real quick. Let's see how price came into that zone. So good. So we have this happen. Mr. Wisdom, sir, you don't make use of candlesticks. These are candlesticks now. It's not clear your question, Mr. Wisdom. Okay, so this is what price is doing. All right. So what do? This is 15-minute chart. Now I'm comfortable with this liquidation. Now I'm waiting for an order flow shift from bullish to bearish. So let me make this 3. So I'm waiting for price to shift order flow. Let me see what price did. If I have created good. So we can see a higher high here like so. Let me make this bigger. This is a structure. You have impulse, correction. Okay, we have structure like so. And then ultimately this is higher than this. So you want price to break this zone like so, or break this zone. And then you want price to retrace into this supply. So let's see what price did. So price broke the zone. So now I'm waiting for price to retrace into my range here. This is how I look at the market. You can also adopt it if you understand what I'm doing. All right. But why I'm showing you my trade is because I want you to understand how liquidity is being grabbed and how order flow is shifting from bullish to bearish or vice versa. Okay. So at the point of this mitigation, so this is now my point of interest on my middle time frame. So I go to my last time frame, which is a 1 minute. And then on that 1 minute chart, I'm also looking for the same thing. I'm looking for a liquidation. So let's play this forward. All right. Sorry. Trying to zoom this in. Okay. So this is the first mitigation here. You can see this price coming like this, touching this zone. You can see the M, and then so that means people's stop loss is above the zone. So that means over here right now is where I'm looking for my sell. Okay. So, and how do I look for my sell? I wait for order flow to shift. So standard order flow shifts. If I'm looking for a sell, I want price to be, if it's bullish like this, I'll wait for the higher low to be taken out. Okay. If that is taken out, what do? I wait for price to retrace into a supply, and then I set my pending order for a sell. Okay. Classic. So let's see how all of that happened here. So this is the structure over here. You have the impulse, correction, impulse. So this low is where I want price to break. So if price breaks this low, I'm going to wait for price to retrace into the zone. Okay. So let's see what happened. Let's delete this and this. So let's put this here. Okay, so I'll play this forward now. So this low has been broken, as you can see, like so. So when that happens, what do? I set a pending order for a sell, short. Pending order has a sell limit, right? A sell, and minimum 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, depending on, let's say 1 to 4. Okay, so you can risk 1% of your account to make 4%, or risk 5% to make 20%, depends on you. So let's see how that played out real quick. So price broke it very, very well. And then ultimately, you can see price tapped right back into the zone. You can see. So this is how people get sniper entries on trades, okay? Because of they understand liquidity and then they understand supply and demand, right? So price tapped into this zone, and then what did we do? Price ultimately gave us 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, I'm not sure. You can see. So on this trade, price went as high as, I think, 1 to 6. So you might have risked 5% to make 30% or more. So depending on your risk. Hope that makes sense, guys. So let's check out the last bet for tonight. Mr. Manuel Olukayode is asking for Euro USD. Euro USD. So let's do Euro USD. Same thing. This should be similar to what we've done on AD USD, gold, and USD USD and USD. But let's check it out on weekly charts. So let's remove everything here. Market structure is your first point of analysis. You want to know the direction of price. Give me a second. Let me remove my alerts. Okay. So let's mark this out. You have price retracing like so, in correction, impulse, correction, ultimately impulse. And then what can we see here? Price is currently in this range here. This is a supply range, like so. Okay. And then what we are seeing right now is an impulse move or retracement. Okay. Ultimately, price is still very much in a downtrend on Euro USD on the weekly time frame. Okay. So price is here right now on the weekly time frame. It makes sense. The best setup that you can enter in this zone is a sell setup. But if you also see buy setups, you can also take it, okay? Because there are times that liquidity needs to be grabbed and structure will set up for that to happen. So let's see what price is doing here. So let's go to lower time frame like daily charts. On daily, if we are to look for sells on daily, right? We want first of all, you can see there has been liquidity grab here. You can see price doing this, okay, coming down, people's stop losses here. Ultimately, price came up, took out this liquidity, all right? So it makes sense to look for sell opportunities. So if you have to look for sell opportunities on daily time frame, you want the order flow to shift from bullish to bearish. And fortunately, we are in luck because order flow on Euro USD is just about shifting to bearish. As you can see, price is doing this. Okay, we have uptrend, bullish order flow, like so. Okay. Oh, okay, it's not yet ready. So we want price. If we are to look for sells on Euro USD, you want price to break this zone here. This is another higher low here. This zone, or if you are very conservative, you will price to break this zone. Okay, so what you should wait for if you are to sell, if you're looking for sells on Euro USD based on daily, you want price to come down and break this zone first. Okay, if and when that happens, you wait for a retracement, okay, into a supply, something like this. If that happens, you sell from there. Okay. Once you understand this concept, it's just rinse and repeat. Honestly, there's nothing too hard about it. But right now, daily is not giving us something to trade yet for a sell. All right. So let's see a possible entry for a buy here. Now, look at this particular structure here. Okay. Overall, price is still bullish. Okay. And then this is the range of demand that is in play right now. Okay. So price is in a demand level. We've seen liquidation over here based on this move, liquidity grab like so. So it makes sense to possibly look for buys as well because it's bullish. So you want to go to lower time frame. Let's go to like 30-minute chart. Okay, on 30 minutes charts, what do we have? We would need to find C structure shift from bearish to bullish. Okay, so if we are to look for buys, hold on. If you have to look for buys on Euro USD right now, because market structure is still very much bullish like so. So if you look for buys, it makes sense to wait for price to break this high. Okay. Takes a lot of patience to enter right setups. So you want price to break the zone and retrace, and then you look for your buys. Okay, so that's if you are looking at it from 30 minutes. So I wouldn't recommend you if you take entry, for example, on a particular trade on the 5 minutes or lower, then your higher time frame should give you that signal first. So because I don't have anything on at least 30 minutes, right, we just need to wait for things to happen. So we have two possible trade ideas for Euro USD right now. Okay, what can we wait for? Okay, so based on what we have on daily right now, price is still very much bullish on daily. Okay, we're on daily, so we should wait for price to break this zone to the downside or break this zone to the downside. When that happens, okay, you wait for the retracement and then you sell ultimately. You are selling because weekly charts is saying that price is in a supply zone. Okay. Now, because all of this has not yet happened, we can possibly also look for little moves that can happen inside the same supply. Okay, so let's go to a time frame like the 4-hour charts and see what can happen on 4 hours. So on 4 hours, what do we have here? We have market structure bearish like so, and then good. So we have a good example here, something setting up on 4 hours for a sell here. So you have internal structure here like so, and then ultimately price retracing and breaking this structure. So we can see this break happen. Let's make this bigger. You can see the break of this lower low. Now you want to wait for a retracement into the supply range. So inside this zone, ladies and gentlemen, is where you want to look for a sell. Maybe that's a sell that will create, that will break that higher low that's on daily. So inside this zone, when price gets here, always I recommend you want to wait for activity of liquidation first. When that happens, let price take out liquidity. So above that zone is where you want to look for a supply zone that you can sell from. Mr. Manuel, I hope that makes a bit of sense to you. Let me know if you understand that analysis. But the most the low-hanging fruits for Euro USD is this 4 hours point of interest, right? You want to wait for price to retrace into the zone, and then over here at the right time, you want to wait for the perfect entry. All right, guys. Any questions, guys? Any personal questions? If you want me to unmute you, so that you ask your questions, please let me know. If we have questions, we just take 1 or 2 questions, and then we would call it a night. So tonight we've checked out, I think 5 pairs or 6 pairs, I'm not sure. We've checked out gold, we've checked out USD CAD, NZD USD, AUD USD, USD CAD, and Euro US. So 6 pairs we've done tonight, which is more than enough for you to trade for the week. Okay, so Mr. David is asking, please explain the term supply zone and lastly demand zone. Like I said earlier, Mr. David, we would find time to delve into that properly, and then I'll show you how to draft it out technically, because that would take me another 30 minutes at least to really show you that. Okay, but we're out of time for tonight. So maybe possibly next week or another time, tend to organize a special session for advanced traders. Okay. Thank you for your question, Mr. David. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions? Addition, subtraction? If you want to ask your question verbally, please indicate, and I'm going to unmute you. Okay. No questions? All right. So you would have access to the replay to be sent to the group, or you can contact your account officer to ask for the recording of this session. So it will be live on YouTube, possibly tonight or tomorrow morning. So you can take a look at the setups again and follow it, because there are times that this analysis that we've analyzed now might not take effect until after a few days. But if you are prepared for it to happen, okay, you will know exactly when to place entries. So I recommend that you invest time to actually watch the recording and do your markups appropriately. All right. So guys, thank you so much for being a part of this weekly session. It's a new year. I wish us all the very, very best this new year. Okay. It is what you invest in the new year that will produce results, right? So what you can invest in this year is time, knowledge into this Forex, into trading, and then you get the desired result. Okay, let's have a remarkable night, gentlemen. I'll see you next week. Take care.